NASA says this is because of the Earth's atmosphere, but as we just saw, not all of them follow the same pattern. Each planet here radiates its own specific patterns and light movements. You see, what we call the planets are actually stars like the rest of the stars we see at night. And the sun is a sun, not a star. This is a star, and this is a sun. There is no space, no Kabbalah Ein Sof vacuum of nothingness. Space is an elaborate hoax. Real space is water. And the water below the firmament appears to be some kind of gooey substance that is paradoxically soft and yet impenetrable. They cannot get through it. And it seems that one scientist found a similar kind of substance within the dark depths of the ocean.
One of the strangest places on the ocean's floor was only just discovered in the 1990s. I might agree as one of a handful of people to ever see it in person.
Without a doubt, one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen in the bottom of the ocean. It was while filming for Blue Planet in the Gulf of Mexico. I noticed there's something out in the distance. Couldn't tell exactly what, but it looked like a dark band. And as we approached it, the dark band became a donut. I saw this donut. It was black in the center. What the heck is that? And so, as we get closer and closer to it, I noticed that the black band had what appeared to be kind of steam over it. And then I looked, and there was water lapping against the shoreline. This band was a ring of mussels. saline and dense that the submarine couldn't go down in it. We literally bounced off, and as we bounced off, we sent ripples heading back to the shoreline. It was insane. I've never...
NASA tells us that our globe is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour on its axes and 67,000 miles per hour around the sun, which is then travelling at 570,000 miles per hour within our galaxy. We've been told that comets are huge ice particles that, when passing within the distance of our sun, begin to melt, which causing them to release gas and create a trail and tail. They tell us that comets can travel 100,000 miles an hour. But they are lying again. Here is time-lapse footage of the recent comet Neowise. As you can see, the comet is not actually moving in its own path. It is fixed in its area on the firmament and moving in conjunction with the rest of the stars. There is no travelling comet journeying at 100,000 miles per hour. But look closer. Can you not see it? It is a large opening in the firmament, casting a ray of light from whatever exists behind and through the water beneath it, much like you see with the light entering in an underwater cave opening deep in the ocean. Why hide the true nature of our Earth from us? Well, if they convince everyone that is not in their little cult that they are the product of a nothingness that randomly produced a small speck which then randomly expanded and created matter and life, then you remove all possibility in the person's mind that their life is anything more than a random coincidence. However, if the Earth is a closed system with a firmament above, then it really requires serious speculation and consideration as to how our ancient ancestors and various ancient and biblical texts knew this. The satanic Illuminati power complex cast humanity into the dark and kept the knowledge for themselves. They work and sacrifice children to whatever this thing is, and all the while control every aspect of knowledge we receive. We go about our days with heads down, glued to our smartphones, downloading their programs and information that keep us brainwashed, when our eyes should be looking up to our firmament and the stars attached within it. But wait, there's more to the story. As we saw, they called the nuclear missile events of the 1960s Operation Fishbowl, and this operation was part of a larger one, Operation Dominic. The name Dominic comes from the Latin Dominicus, which means of the Lord. So together we get Fishbowl of the Lord. Again, it's there hiding in plain sight. The actions committed against children are the greatest of all sins and crimes, but this comes very close. There is nothing more satanic and evil than hiding the true nature of what humanity really is and what exists beyond. The biblical texts, which hold many truths and clues, have been tampered with by the satanic body of elites. The Bible used to contain over 80 books, but some were removed and hidden. It now contains 66 books. 66. That number again. Something I did not want to show you until this point in the series are the true mathematical calculations of the Masonic science of the heliocentric Earth. We are told it spins on an axis of 23.4 degrees. If a straight angle is 90 degrees, and we subtract the 23.4 degrees of the Earth's tilt, what number are we left with? 66.6. I have told you that the Earth orbits the Sun at 67,000 miles per hour, but you see I rounded up. Wikipedia gives us a true Masonic figure, 66,600 miles per hour. I have also shown how according to the heliocentric model the Earth should curve at 8 inches per mile squared. What is 8 inches in feet? At this point you already know. It's 0.666. And look at what latitude they tell us that the Arctic and Antarctic poles are located at. 66.6 latitude. Can you see what is happening? How many coincidences before mathematically impossible? They are lying to us. There are no coincidences. Coincidence and randomness is Kabbalah science. I have saved this until now because I wanted to show you first. Buried deep within hundreds of pages of declassified CIA documents that present abstracts or cover notes of Soviet scientific studies, there are a couple of cards from the 1940s and 60s that are very telling. Here is an abstract outlining a study they were conducting on photographing the firmament. The full studies are not accessible to the public, but we can see here that they have produced a camera that can take a photograph of the firmament in its entirety all the way down to the horizon. Another abstract details echoes and glows in the firmament, and another measuring the color temperature of the firmament. In another abstract there is a contents page for naval personnel. Look at the contents. The shape of the firmament. Rings around the sun and distortion of the sun's and moon's disks at the horizon. Disks, not spheres, just like reference in the Book of Enoch. Again, it is just an abstract of the manual and we cannot see the full contents. In another abstract we see reference to what they call the Eros firmament. It states that at the Eros firmament, the passage of the sun is 5 times quicker. The passage of the sun. They do not reference the Earth's spin in orbit, but that the sun is the one moving and making a passage over the Earth right below the firmament. Notice the dates, which align with all the operations at the poles and firing missiles up into our sky. The reference to a firmament is scarce and almost unnoticeable in the hundreds of pages that were declassified, but it is there. And there is a huge difference between these declassified documents and the government leaks I spoke about earlier, like that of Majestic 12. Barely anyone has ever noticed these snippets of study abstracts. I would say that it was by negligence that these references were even declassified within hundreds of other pages of unrelated material in the first place. But I don't think it's that. It's complacency. No one is ever likely to come across these buried documents, and if they did, I doubt they would think twice after skimming over a study title referencing the firmament. The space heliocentric hoax has been so ingrained in our minds from our early years and reinforced on a daily basis in ways we don't even think twice about, it would never occur to us the significance of such references in documents of the 1940s and 60s. But it is there, hidden in plain sight. Even the Simpsons have told us.
Santa Claus kicks and deals. It's a long fly ball going back, and the ball shatters the sky, bringing the ocean itself down into the stadium.
Oh, and you remember Nazi aerospace engineer Werner von Braun, who was a leading director at NASA upon its founding and a leading figure in the Apollo moon missions? Well, he died in 1977. Look at his grave. It references Psalms 19:1. What is that verse? The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. You see, it's always been there waiting for us to notice. We just fell asleep as children to bedtime stories of space explorers and never woke up. Space is a highly manipulative and controlled psyop, an elaborate hoax to control us and destabilize us from our true human nature. It is the greatest lie of all time. And I know what you're thinking. If space is fake, does this eradicate the possibility of alien life? I can almost feel the disappointment in you. Just like all those years ago when you discovered Santa was not real. But no, it doesn't mean there isn't other life, and I implore you to consider the potential vastness of a new kind of space and land beyond the poles that Admiral Byrd was referring to. Again, it's been right in your face the whole time. ETs, extraterrestrial, aka extraterritory. Don't worry, I am not going to ruin the excitement your imagination feels when it thinks of extraterrestrials. In fact, I'm going to enhance it. But before I do that, however, we need to examine more of our flat stationary plane that is bound by the wonder of our firmament and the waters above. We still have time, and I need to make an important stop first. Come on, move swiftly. Follow me to part 9. I need to show you the panic they are in now their little secret is starting to emerge. How dare they lie to us?